Hello, hello, hello. This is Els coming from Bemis Crafty Corner. And today we're looking at another no. Do you have one of these? I do. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I have one of these. This is a box full of ribbons. Just ribbon. This is just my ribbon, okay? And it's not even all of my ribbon, because I go to the store and I buy a spool of ribbon and I end up buying more of that same ribbon because I forgot that I bought that ribbon or that I already had that ribbon, and before you know it, I have hundreds of these ribbons and spools of ribbon, and it's all in here. Look at this. Yeah, look, see? 2 spools. Bought it. Why? Because I didn't know that I had it at home. Now, I used to have all these all on cards and they were all lined up and they all look like this. The problem with this was that because this box was put away, it's like I didn't take it out to use it, and I want to use the ribbon that I have because this stuff is great. It's great for decorating. It's great for designing. It's fantastic for adding a pop of color. You can use it as bookmarks in your journals. You can do so much stuff with this. I mean, look at how beautiful this is, right? I should have used this on something, and I haven't. I've got this like woven silver thread. It's gorgeous, but I don't use it. Very, very rarely, and usually I only use these, and then I'm constantly buying them because I don't remember if I have them, and I have spools of this stuff just everywhere. And so this is a no. I'm going to show you a solution that I came up with that I think might help with this, and put this where I can see it and I will use it. So I'm going to put this off my desk, and then I'll be back to show you what I've come up with. So let's start with the no. When I first thought of the idea, I thought I could use old packaging, acetate, and that this would work. And then I thought about this and I said, okay, well, first you have to take the acetate and you have to get it to a workable size. And then you have to, cut your pieces. You have to be able to punch a hole in this, and then you have to be able to put a slot in here somehow. So I try to punch. It just kind of stretches the acetate. It doesn't really cut it. I tried using some dies that I have that just cut slots and things, but not everybody has those. And I thought about just, cutting like a piece out, not going all the way across, and just removing a piece of this. But what I found is you can't really get that flat. And if you're using any kind of thinner ribbon, it'll get caught on there and it'll snag, and that's no good. So that's a no. Next one up were these. I took a look at using these, and these are the bobbins that we use for embroidery thread. And, most of us use these to wrap our washi tape around and send a washi sample to somebody, or, like a Happy Mail. And I thought about it, and again, you have to put a slot through this thing, which is not easy to cut, in order for this process to work. So I scratched my head because I had the idea. I knew this would work. I knew it would be a great idea. I just needed to figure out the delivery, so to speak. So I came up with 2 options. One is sheet vinyl. Now you can pick this up in just about every hobby store. You can get this at Walmart. Some of them sell it off the rack, the big rolls. Fabric stores carry this. Sometimes at Walmart you can buy this in a pre-cut package. This is the thicker stuff. You really want the thicker, you don't want the really thin stuff. You want the thicker stuff, and then you just cut it down into usable pieces so that you can work your way through it. The other option, and if you buy a yard of this, you're going to have way more hangers than anybody's ribbon stash is going to need. The other option are either the thermal laminating pouches or the self-laminating pouches, whether you get the little credit card size ones, the big pouches, or these 4x6 ones, whichever one works for you. The other thing that you're going to want are some binder rings. I have some 1-inch binder rings here, and I have a collection of very large binder rings that I happened to find when I was on a scavenger. So I'm probably going to be using one of these today. This is a 3-inch. I might use a 5 because the 5 locks at the bottom and I like that. So I may use the 5, may use the 3. Either one, we'll be using them. Now, if you don't have the 1-inch, you can use the 1/2 inch, whatever size you have. And as a matter of fact, if you don't have any at all, but you have one of these giant clips, this one is huge. This one is 7 inches. So if, you know, this is the one that you have, then don't worry about it. You can just use this. You don't have to use the smaller binder clips, okay? If this is all you have, that'll work. If you have a couple of these, that's going to work. So don't freak out if you don't have everything that I have. But we're going to be using those. You're going to probably want some scissors for this one. If you're going to be cutting vinyl sheeting, you may want to have like a razor knife or something like that. And a straight edge with a cutting board. And you're going to want a hole punch. And I'll be honest, I've tried this with some paper punches like this. This does not work. But if you have a set of circle dies are going to work wonderfully for this, okay? The smallest one. All right? So let's go ahead and let's get started, and we'll get the first ones done. All right, so for the purposes of this, I'm going to be using the cut board today and the straight, box cutter. And the reason that I'm going to do this is you guys can see everything that I'm doing. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to cut a straight line here, because I just kind of chunked this off. I have a big roll, and I just kind of chunked some off. Now, if for whatever reason you can't get this to lay flat, just hit it with like, you don't want to use your heat gun, guys, because it'll melt it, but you could hit it with a blow dryer, okay? So I have a flat edge here, and so I'm going to put that flat edge down, and I'm just going to cut kind of a straight edge over here as well, and cut some of this off because it's not, I don't need it to be that long, ever. All right, so I'm just going to cut a straight edge here as well. I'm going to use this straight edge as my guide. And all I'm doing is really just squaring this up, and that'll just make the end process a little easier. All right, now I have 2 straight edges. Let's put that in the corner. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. We'll go ahead and cut this piece off. And we'll get that last edge. This doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. So once I have kind of that sheet, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this to like 1-inch strips. Now, if you want to put this on your cutter, your rotary cutter, you can certainly do that. It is entirely up to you. But we're just going to want to cut some 1-inch strips on here. So I'm just going to cut a bunch of 1-inch strips. I'm going to have those all cut. I'll be right back. All right, so I have all of my strips cut, and I'm not really worried about the length too much. I want to make sure that when I fold these up, they're pretty decent. So about 3.5, 4 inches. So I'm just going to fold these in half, and I'm just going to cut them all. So I'm just going to put this in half and cut it. These don't have to be perfect. That's the beauty of this. This is literally like, oops, I messed up. It's okay. I can still use it. So once I have all of these cut, I'm just going to cut this last one and then we'll move on. So once I have all of these cut, I'm going to bring in my hole punch. Now, if you don't have a crocodile, this may be a little bit difficult for you because you want to have a good solid hole punch to punch this with. So you may have to use a leather punch, but you're just going to fold it in half, go in about 1/2 inch, and punch a hole in it. So you have a hole going through both pieces, and you're going to do that to all of these. And I'm going to go ahead and pull a different hole punch here so we can take a look at that, because it's another one that most people have commonly. get it out here, and that is this one here. A lot of people have this one. So let's go ahead and see if this one will work. Remember, we're just going to fold it in half. We're going to go about 1/2 inch. We're going to punch a hole. That one worked pretty good. And the last one that everybody has is this one. The 99-cent store special, right? All right, so we're going to fold this in half. We'll put this in about 1/2 inch. Oh, that one worked too. So any hole punch really is going to work here, okay? But we're going to punch all of these through. We're just going to take both layers, put them together, and go through and punch it with our hole punch about 1/2 inch in the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's what I love about this. And then once we're all done, I'm going to show you how to use it. We're going to get out one of our 1-inch rings. And we're just going to take these and we're going to put like 2 or 3 on each one. Now, if you're using a smaller ring, put 1 on per ring. So I'm going to put 3 on a ring. I think that looks pretty good. Let's take a look. 3 looks pretty good. I like 3. So we're going to go ahead and just do the 1 for right now. I'm going to get the rest of these done and I'll be right back. For this one, and I've got 3 on here and 3 on there. And you're going to want to get your ribbon out. And what I did is I just pulled out some random ribbons. And I decided I would just pull by color. So I'm going to do is like my yellow. And I'm just going to feed it through there. And just let it hang, you know. And then we'll do this one. Put that through. Just let it hang. And then I'm going to do this one. Put it through. And we'll just let it hang. So I've got all my ribbons just kind of laid in there. And you see, it doesn't matter if it's like a 1/2 inch or it's a 1 inch. It's just going to lay there, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put these ribbons here all onto these hooks. Now this is a very thin ribbon, so I could put 2 on the same hook if I wanted to, or I could just have like double the length, because I discovered in going through my ribbons that I actually have about 5 spools of this, so I could put it on there if I want to. Here's one. I just have a little bit of this one, so we'll just put it on here. And I have this one. Put this one on there. And the other thing that this is going to do is it's going to keep these ribbons relaxed so that they don't have that kind of boxy square look to them. You know, that folded over. So we've got that one there. Get that a little bit more even. Okay. And then I'm going to do the blue one as well. And all I'm going to do is once I have these all on here, I'm just going to take one of the bigger loops that I have, and I'm just going to put these little loops onto that big loop, and then I can hang this up. You know, I can just put it on like a hook on the door or on the wall or in the closet or wherever. I can put it on my pegboard in front of me, wherever I'm going to put this. So, all right, so now I have these all on here. And you can see I did them by color. You know, I have a pink one and I have a yellow one and I have a blue one. And then I'm just going to bring in the larger binder clip. Right here. And then all I'm going to do is just put the binder clips on here. And this way, if I just want just one color, I can just take that one off. And now I can hang this up anywhere I want in my craft room. Like, check it out, right? And it's pretty. So, you know, I get to see all my ribbon, and it's pretty and it's colorful and it adds to my room. So that's the basic idea. I'm going to talk to you next about how to use these laminating pouches to pretty much do the same thing, and I'll be right back. All right, so if you use the thermal laminating pouches, make sure they are cooled before you do the next process, okay? With these, this is pretty easy. We're just going to remove that first little piece and kind of get it started, you know? And then I use my bone folder. You can do this by hand if you want to, entirely up to you. And I just kind of lift up on that sheet, just run it across with my bone folder. All the way to the end. I'm not going to laminate anything in it. I just want the laminate. And then, this is about 4.5 inches wide. And I've got here the smallest die that I have. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into 3 pieces this way, which is about 6.5 inches. So I'm going to cut it at like 2 1/4. Give or take. 2 and a smidge, you know. Let's see. It's 6.5. So let's go 3 1/4. That'll be halfway. And if this moves or you get your cut crooked, it doesn't matter, because this is not something that you're like presenting. Okay, this is something for your personal use. And then I'm going to cut this into just about thirds. I want it to be about 1 3/4 inches wide, give or take. Okay, and it doesn't matter what size I make it. Doesn't matter length or width, as long as my circle fits on the piece and gives me a good piece on the outside. That's all that matters. So I'm going to take this first piece and we're going to bring in the cutter. Now, I have figured that punches don't work really good with this, okay? They just don't. They're not sharp enough. You might get it through one time, but you're not going to get it through after that. So, I have found that circle dies work really well. So, run it through your cutter. Run it back through your cutter. Okay? Usually just one time will do it. So let's take this out of here. And voila. That circle has come out. Then you're just going to take your hole punch, about 1/2 inch in, pop a hole. Now if you leave this longer and you can put 2 of your circles on here, then cut 2. It's not going to kill anything, okay? Half as many pieces. All right, so we're going to run that through. The second time, come out of it. So I have this piece that has a small hole at the top, and then it has 2 holes here. Guess what? These holes are perfect for threading through ribbon. And again, I can color coordinate this if I want to. Do all my pinks on one, on one set. And then this little ring right here gets another 1-inch piece, and you put it onto your larger ring, and then you have all of your ribbons beautifully displayed. Okay? That's it, guys. That's my whole spiel for today. Listen, if you're new here and you have not done so already, go ahead and subscribe for me, like me, ring my bell, and share me with all of your friends. And then your friends can be my friends, and my friends will become your friends. And before you know it, our friends are friends, and we're a community. Till I see you again, stay safe, guys. Bye-bye.